Hi, everybody. Steve Tarter, another edition of Tarter Sauce. Welcome, pjstar.com. And with me today, Josiah Williams. Josiah, you are the Neighborhood Enhancement Coordinator. I think I got that right.
That's right.
Of the city of Peoria. Young man who, what did you do before this?
I was the...
You've done a lot of things, but I mean, go ahead. I'm throwing it right at you early.
I was the field representative for Congresswoman Sherry Bustos.
That's right.
For almost 4 years.
And that was right out of college, right out of Bradley University.
Yes,
okay.
The week after, literally.
Oh, my. Boy, now there's a success story. You know, most people don't get called by a congressman the week after they graduate. Hey, come over here and work. You grew up in Milwaukee, and you went to Bradley University where you graduated, and then we know you went to Sherry Bustos's office. What sort of your feeling for Peoria now that you would describe your job? Because I think maybe some people are hearing, what's a neighborhood enhancement coordinator?
Yeah, so this is a position that I believe is pretty new to the city of Peoria, but I'm essentially a liaison between city staff and the citizens. So I help to make sure communication is going right. We have a bunch of different programs that we offer throughout the year that help citizens with their homes or for their neighborhoods. I'm kind of like the go-to guy, and even if I don't have all the answers, I'm the guy that's going to help find the answer as soon as possible.
So people want to watch for you when you come through the neighborhood, because if they have a question or problem or just a comment, you can pass that on to the department or the individual that maybe can see something happen.
Yes.
Are you noticing now? You've only been on the job a month, so it's really unfair to kind of examine all that you've done. You know, we have to give you some time just to kind of feel for it. Are you familiar now with Peoria's neighborhoods, the ones that you're going into? I'm
getting very familiar very quickly. So I've been in Peoria for the past 7 or 8 years, and within that time, there was a good portion of time where I was out, and, you know, especially working for the Congresswoman, we go to a bunch of different events all the time. But my first week on the job here, I was able to shadow a lot of the code enforcement officers and some of the other, like, building inspectors, everyone within community development, really. I would just take a couple of hours and get in their car, see what they do. And there were sides of Peoria that, you know, I hadn't seen before, so it was really cool to explore new neighborhoods, new towns. But I'm slowly getting there. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's apparent to anybody that takes the time to go through it. But if you're looking at and we'll just say the south side of Peoria, South Peoria, that is a big area.
It is.
I mean, because I think people maybe assume it's just one part, or, you know, if they're the part that maybe they went to school or they know somebody in, but it's such a broad area with so many homes, and that's part of the difficulty, isn't it? Because it is, the population has dropped. I mean, we've heard that, and a lot of those homes are older homes. This leads to problems sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot that Peoria has. You think that it's, you know, a smaller city or something, but there's a lot. When they gave me the list of, you know, the code areas, there's a handful of those, but then there's the list of neighborhood associations and homeowners associations, literally hundreds, and I'm like, oh, okay.
You're supposed to be at all these meetings?
Exactly. I'm like, man, that's a lot. But
it can be a little daunting, but at the same time, you're only one person, and you know, obviously you got to just spread yourself around a little bit. What is your thought? What do you bring to the job with now that you're kind of just at least assessing the area?
Yeah, well, I have to go back because this position was previously held by 2 people.
Right.
So I guess with, you know, budget cuts or whatever it was, it's now 1 person. So I kind of absorbed both of those roles, and, you know, that's 2 full-time people that they have to go to different neighborhood meetings and all this other stuff. So obviously I'm not able to do everything. But we're slowly kind of figuring out what this is going to look like with just 1 guy. But to answer your question, I love so far being able to interact with people. I think people get a good sense of pride knowing that I'm a bubbly guy. I'm somebody who I'll talk to you all day, and I just want to get to know you. And it's really what I did when I was working for the Congresswoman too. I'm a representative for the representative. So my job is to be that middle person. You know, you won't have you're not going to have Sherry Bustos' cell phone number, but you'll have Josiah Williams' office number. So I'm the guy that kind of talks in between, and I think that brings comfort to a lot of people to know like there's one guy at least that I can go to get help, and hopefully it'll pay off.
And I think it's important to have a positive attitude, because it's easy for people to become and you if you haven't already, you're going to run into them. Folks that feel, wow, this isn't what it used to be. Things are going south. We need some help. The city isn't investing in this area. Blah blah blah. I mean, and all those possibly are valid, but there's only so much, as you said, one person can do anyway. How do you keep your spirits up and give people comfort when you run into that? What's your approach?
I think there's a couple different things. First off, I'm a very realistic guy, so I try to think of, okay, what can I actually do? It's not about me telling you what I think will make you feel better in those situations, but okay, what's the tangible solution? What can the city of Peoria genuinely do to help? But I also, in general, try to be a very positive person. If I'm having a bad day because of something that someone else does, or the way that somebody else feels about me, then that's just on me. I still get to go home at the end of the day and see my beautiful wife and play games or whatever. I still get to enjoy my night. So I try my best to make people feel like they're appreciated, and to make people feel like I'm genuinely going to try to do something in response to what they've told me.
How are you finding the intricacies of City Hall? Has that been an ongoing lesson? Because obviously everyone has different, activities there, different way to approach them, how to get through.
I'm still in that stage where I'm like, so who do I go to for this? Or who do I talk to about this? Before starting this job, I would come to City Hall to go straight to the 4th floor for like a council meeting or, just talking to somebody up there. So this was my first time really getting to see what's on the 2nd floor, who has these offices. And when you walk into the building, you think, okay, it's pretty straightforward, it's laid out. There are 50 people just on one floor. So I don't even think at this point I've been through the entire building yet.
Right.
So yeah, it's very difficult.
That'll be an interesting learning curve. We'll have to have you come back after a period of time.
The 1-year checkup.
So now, Josiah, and I have to give Thomas Brook of our staff kudos on the story he did on you last year, before you, of course, took the position you have now, because you are a musical person.
Yes.
You have always you started very young. If I remember the article,
I did.
Were you 5 years old or something, or younger than that?
My mom tells me that when we got Lion King, the movie, on VHS, so this was what, 94, 95, something like that. She told me that I memorized the entire thing. I knew the I had the script in my head, but I also knew the song lyrics. Like, I was ready to go. But growing up in Milwaukee, I went to a lot of art schools. So, aside from our math and history and everything else, we were going to music class and drama and art. So that's been my whole life. So I came to Bradley to be, I was a theater performance student. But yes, I started making music officially when I was at Bradley. But before that, I was always a part of a choir or just hanging out with other people and playing drums or doing whatever.
What do you know? Obviously, it's probably all of the above. But what do you enjoy more? Singing, writing, just performing? What is your
performing?
Okay.
I don't always enjoy writing.
Okay.
That's difficult sometimes because that's the gritty part. I love being able to express when I'm on a stage and it's all done. All the hard work is done. Now I get to show you the fun side of, here's what I feel, or here's what I want you to feel, or here's a message that I think we need to talk about a little bit more. I think that's the best part.
Now, if somebody wants to get a sample of what you're doing, where can they turn?
All of my music is available on like iTunes and Amazon and Spotify, all of those digital distribution type platforms. And then I have a website, jdeanwilliams.com.
JD?
Dean. Dean is my middle name.
D-E-A-N.
D-E-A-N.
Like
the dean of schools.
What was I going to say? Who was the guy that died in the car crash? James Dean. There we go.
James.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Forget those things.
I should have known that immediately.
There's probably been a lot of deans killed in car crashes, but we remember James Dean.
Yeah. 27 years old, I believe.
Oh yeah. And speeding or something. But you don't speed, so that's okay.
No, I don't. I abide by city rules.
We have a law-abiding citizen here. Very good.
Right.
What about now? What is this you just did? And now we were just kidding around before we went on the air regarding Peoria, the song about Peoria.
Yes. So "Together We Work" is the title of the song, and it's not necessarily a song about the city of Peoria, but we utilize the city of Peoria as an example.
Okay.
So it's a collaboration between myself and a good friend of mine, Chelsea Tams.
Sure. Just saw her the other day.
Yes.
She's been in your seat right there,
awesome.
Lettering, doing all the lettering.
Yes, she's incredible. We decided to collaborate on a project that showcased music and art, but had a very central message to it. So our goal was to promote unity, equity, and get people active in developing their communities. So we did a song that speaks exactly to that. And the music video, which we shot at the Contemporary Arts Center right downtown.
I wonder where that was shot. Okay.
Yes, we opened it up to the public. You know, I didn't want it to be a music video of me just dancing and singing and all that. This is something where I wanted other people's faces to represent the lyrics of the song.
Okay.
And we created the video in such a way that, you know, somebody in Los Angeles or somebody in Susquehanna, Pennsylvania wants to play this song and use it as an example for their community, they can do so. So, I mean, it's in a way, it's a City of Peoria song because it's all city faces shot in a City of Peoria location. But I also wanted it to be something that can be shown anywhere.
Well, I have to tell you that seems to be a wonderful time for that because without getting political, because we leave that to others. But you know, we live in divisive times. I mean, you know, we have a lot of finger pointing and big posturing going on, and it is important to get back to the idea of people working collectively. I mean, obviously you do that on your job, but now also, you know, when you look at Peoria, has Peoria gotten a bad rap? I use the word rap, you know, just because I use wrong words sometimes. But, you know, because, you know, we've done stories on it and everyone knows aware of it. Peoria is listed as one of the worst places for an African-American to live. You're an African-American. Is it?
I would disagree with that. Let me speak on both sides.
Sure.
I feel like it's definitely not a place where we're always encouraged and motivated. I think that there are a lot of great things happening in the city for people who look like me. And I wouldn't even just say people who look like me, but people of color. Because that's, you know, it's not just black people. There are a lot of other ethnicities represented in that too. But I feel like there are great examples of people who are taking that leap and saying, you know what, this is what you said about us. Now let me say something else in response. Here's, you know, for example, Rachel Parker and Riley, who have this cupcake empire.
Oh, yes.
Here's Denise Moore, who has the Minority Business Development Center. Here's, you know, people who are going out and shooting videos and just doing even small things, you know. So I feel like, yes, in a way, Peoria is not where it should be.
Right.
I can 100% say that Peoria is not where it should be for people who look like me. But there are other people who look like me that are making a stamp and saying, you know what, we have to start somewhere. Another great example, Michael Kitchens, a guy who owns a restaurant and says, you know, I want everybody to come in and see what we do, but I want to celebrate what makes us unique at the same time. So Yeah, it's a difficult thing to kind of answer, but I always try to see the positive in it while being realistic.
And the problem is, I think when the media covers that story, and now we're talking about someone in Susquehanna, Pennsylvania, reading that, they're going to get an idea. Oh, well, I didn't realize that in Peoria. And yet, I'm thinking, and I don't know this, and maybe it's wishful thinking, but you often heard that Peoria was typical of USA, because of how it plays in Peoria. And I don't know that that's true, because I haven't been to all the places that one would have to go to learn that. But if that's the case, then yeah, it seems like that's, for whatever reason. But we know we challenged, and obviously we have to address that.
I'm sorry, I didn't specifically answer your question. Does Peoria get, does it have a bad reputation? Yes. If we are being honest about it, yes, it does. But there are people who are trying to change that. Right. Just wanted to make sure I actually answered.
And you're one
question.
of them now.
I try to be.
Oh, okay.
I hope I am.
Well, that's good. Well, I think working for the city in the capacity that you are, you're the point man now in a lot of neighborhoods. Obviously, you're only one guy, and you can bring back information or refer somebody to. No, you need to talk to this department or whatever it is. But I think we get the calls that come in here sometimes. People oftentimes are so grateful for just a helping hand. They don't expect necessarily a handout, but they want to know, well, what I'm hearing correct about whatever it is, some ordinance, or my grass has to be this tall, or whatever it is. They want to get it right, and sometimes they just don't know. They need that information, and then obviously you're in a position to help. What lies ahead for you? Obviously, you're a young guy that's got a lot of things going on. You're 9 to 5 for the city, and 5 to 9 for
that's right.
for the music. How do you have a goal or a project that you'd like to get started on?
No, because when I get a goal or a project that I want to start, I just do it.
Well,
so, like, for example, that video, I had an idea, and I just called somebody, called Chelsea, asked her if she would be interested, and did that.
And now it's out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think long term, my life goal is to open up an art center.
Oh, great.
That, we see great examples of, like, the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA, but I want to kind of drill specifically, and not just do music, dance, art. I want to teach multicultural arts. So I want to be able to offer people, take Latin dance classes and learn about the history of the Harlem Renaissance and get into very specific styles of art. Maybe one day when I'm 60 years old, that'll happen. I don't have the time for that
or
right
next
now.
year, maybe.
I don't know.
If you're one of these that likes to just get it done, I mean, that's a good possibility. Well, that sounds great, and I think doesn't it strike you, and you would know this from your own background coming to Bradley as you did, but Peoria, among other things, has opportunity because it's of a size where you can make a difference. You don't get lost in. I mean, you go to Chicago or even Milwaukee, probably. The numbers are pretty, heavy duty, and you may or may not have the chance to go down to a theater and do something right away. You might if you work at it. But here, you can get things started. You can do what you're doing, and then attract others that are like-minded.
And that's one of the reasons why I chose to come to Bradley. So my mom tells me when I was like 4 or 5, I knew I wanted to go to Juilliard. Like, that was it. There was no, college was Juilliard. That's all I knew. So when I applied to a bunch of those types of schools in like Columbia and some places out in LA. And after getting into those schools and touring and learning about what they do and seeing it firsthand, it's like, man, these people are just competing with each other. It's not really and I mean, it's not everyone. I can't say that, but it wasn't the educational aspect that I really wanted. So I toured Bradley last, and it was like a family, and it's a smaller school, but there was opportunity for everyone. Literally, you can create kind of your own path, and I think Peoria, in a way, reflects that of, it may not have everything laid out right in front of you, but if you have an idea of something that you want to do, you can go out and find somebody to collaborate with and do that.
Well, and the path is there. It's as you said, though. Oftentimes, it's made tougher for certain individuals for either income or ethnicity or education. I mean, you can line up the blocks.
Yes, I'm sorry, you said something earlier, and you just said education, which made me go back to that. So you were talking about how there are oftentimes people don't really know about what's going on in the community, or they face maybe something like a code, and it's like, oh wait, I didn't really know that. One of the things that I've learned about the community development department, most places in the nation are specifically focused on like code enforcement or law enforcement. I've learned that the city has been more so on code and law education and information, and that's one of the things that I really want to adapt from my role too. Of you have to learn and you have to know, but we have to be able to provide them that information. So I love that the code enforcement officers, although they do have to write tickets, their first step is, hey, here's what you're doing that we want to help and fix. And they'll, if the citizen fixes that, they'll get like a tag that says, congratulations, you did a good job. Thank you for that. And I love that so much because it doesn't make you feel like you're being attacked. It doesn't make you feel like, man, you're just coming over here to mess with me.
Like the city is your enemy or something. Yeah.
Right. And of course that takes a long time to change. So it's not like an overnight thing of we're your best friends now. But I love that they're approaching it from a sense of, let's educate and work together. And I'm not just saying that because I work for them, because I say what I want to say.
Well, and you're learning that you might not have known that had you not had this job. I mean, and that opens your eyes a little bit. And I think, one of the things that we have to be clear on from the standpoint of media is we will relate many of the things that the city does that have been unfortunate. Let's use that word. Yeah. Whether it's Père Marquette or that we can go down a list. But the point is, yes, we'll keep doing those stories because taxpayers need to know what's going on in their community. But there's also positive things.
Yes.
And sometimes it seems like if you talk about the positive things, oh, well, you're just parroting the city, the PR department or something. And that's really not fair because we're so quick to criticize. We ought to also be just as quick to say, that's a good attitude the city's got when they're taking that stance that you're talking about with the ordinances. And I see that a little bit now that I'm covering city council. We're there to obviously hear what the council does, but the city staff is always there to report and talk, as you know. I saw you up there not too long ago, and that's an education too. You find out what it is Ross Black and Scott Reese and these others are they're doing in their departments. Which is. Boy, after I hear what some of these council people want, it's like a shopping list. Come back to this meeting with this, and this done. It's like, man, you've got many bosses, many chiefs on that reservation.
That's right.
But so, Josiah, you're going to be doing probably some more videos as the mood strikes you, or is there another thought in your mind about how you want to do your music?
So yeah, of course I'll do stuff that's predominantly for myself.
You've got 2 albums out, right? Or did I read that right in that article?
Well, yeah, that was last year. So
that was last year. Okay.
there's a few more out now.
So what are we up to now?
I think we're at 4 or 5.
4 albums. Yeah. You have 4 albums out.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, retail.
So give your web address again, because
sure. So all across social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, it's just Dean, Dean Williams. And then my website is jdeanwilliams.com. To answer your question, so I have my own personal music, but I also have kind of gotten into like music video marketing. So I've done like videos for Bradley and for Bud Light and the Louisville Slugger. So I'm working on one today for the Elite Youth Outreach Group that they'll show at graduation.
Carl Cannon's group.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So you are a busy guy.
Yeah.
Albums and videos and arranging, production. You do sleep, right? Okay.
I try.
I try. You're young. Yeah, you'll get to that as you get older.
Right.
Well, our guest has been Josiah Williams, who's a neighborhood enhancement coordinator of the city, but a whole lot more. Watch for this guy, because you're going to be singing up a storm. Well, do you have this is sort of a pat question, but I have to ask a musician about it. So who do you like? What albums do you like, or do you remember fondly that directed you on your path to music?
We grew up listening to a lot of R&B at home, a lot of gospel music. For me now, I am a huge John Legend fan, Bruno Mars. There's an artist named Janelle Monáe. But I'm also really inspired by like my peers and people who also make the type of music that I make. So there's a guy his name is Hyper Fenton.
Hyper?
Hyper, yes.
Yeah, that's a good name. I remember that.
Yes. There are a lot of guys that...
Is he hyper?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay.
He is, indeed. I'm inspired by a little bit of everyone. I listen to music all day, every day. I have the speakers right at my desk. And that's just, it keeps me going.
Very good. Well, it's been great having you on here, man, because we need to know what's going on with the city, and we'll try to keep up with you as you churn out the music. And I was going to ask you one more thing. In Thomas's story, you said you were the MC at Bradley games.
Yes.
So what
can we forget that?
Yeah, what does the MC do at the Bradley games?
So there are, we have the play-by-play announcer, but I'm the guy that keeps the energy going during those downtimes. So, timeouts. If there's a point where I'm not even exactly speaking, but there's nothing really going on the court, then I'm walking around and giving people high fives, keeping that up. Halftime, but I announce all the promotions, all the fun stuff.
Okay.
So I try to keep the energy up in the room, and that's my favorite thing that I do. Out of everything, I love that so much because you interact with a little bit of everybody. My job is literally to make people happy and to keep people happy. Even whether we're up by 30 points, down by 30 points, my job is to keep people happy, and I try my hardest to do that. So thank you to the Bradley Braves for believing in me for the past 4 or 5 years or so.
Well, very good. Well, they're coming hard, so that's good news. And so you'll be doing that again, or are you?
I would like to think so.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, Bradley fans, here's your guy.
That's right.
You may or may not know he's there, but you better be ready for a big year. Well, thanks again, Josiah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Tartar sauce.
There we go.
I love it. I'm allergic to fish, but I love it.
Well, you can eat the tartar sauce without the fish. See, we're going to market that pretty soon. We'll see.
Awesome.
Well, I want to thank Matt Dayhoff, who's at the controls here, gets us out, and we'll see you next time on Tartar Sauce.
This was awesome. This was really, really